Close enough.
We'll go with Cameron. How does that sound?
That's good with me.
Cameron from Channel 5, local broadcaster.
Yep.
Covers high school football.
I do. I was actually just at the Marinette Bonduelle game before I came here.
So talk to me about, like, on a Friday, what your day looks like, and then how do you get back to the studio, and all of a sudden we go home and it's on already, like you just left. And so how does that work in the TV industry?
Yeah, so during the week, we look at all the high school matchups in our area, and we find the schools that are at least somewhat close to each other, so we can go on these things we call runs, and we match them up with each other. So I think we have 4 or 5 people out on runs right now. Our anchor for tonight, Kyle Malzahn, he needs to be closer to the station because he will be on air and all tidied up in his suit. And the rest of us are running around and trying to get from school to school. You usually try to get 3, 4, 5 highlights because that's all the time we have to get it on the air. And next thing you know, we're here, and then we're there, and then you see it on air.
And do you have to be back to studio to give him everything, or do you remotely send him things? How does that work?
It depends. So sometimes we remotely send if the school's really far away and we can't get back in time. But usually we have a cutoff time. Mine is around 9:30, 9:40. So when we get back there, we can edit it for him, send in our highlights, put in the scores, and then he'll be ready to roll by 10:20.
So what's the balance between a local rivalry versus a team that's really good, or is it like we want to try to get somebody on? Do you want to get every local team on during the course of a year, or what's going through sportscasters' minds when you're trying to plan what the year looks like?
So every Saturday night we have our show called High School Sports Extra. And
Yep.
We have a game of the week. So that game will stay for the entirety of it. So a lot of the times early in the season we'll get some of the smaller schools that might not be as recognized down the line or go as far in the playoffs. The rest of it is who's good, who's been playing well, and is it conference matchups, head-to-heads? We had, Xavier Fox Valley Lutheran earlier in the year. That's the Apple Bowl. We've had, other things like, I know Kakana playing, now I'm forgetting it, the Galloping Ghosts against West Appear, the Phantoms.
First game of the year, I think that was.
Exactly. So you have those rivalries, but you also try to get other schools and recognition for them. So really it's as hectic as it sounds, but for us, because it's an every Friday thing, you get into a groove, and I feel like at this point
you just kind of used
we're
to
in a groove, yes.
And the people that all work for you on a Friday night all work for the station and are broadcasters also, or maybe they're not, or how does that work?
So,
like if I wanted to do that.
Yeah, well, we'd love to have you.
Okay, all right,
Come on, please. We add to the numbers. We get more schools, and that's all we want is to recognize as many schools in our area. A lot of them are broadcasters in our sports department. Some are news photographers or news reporters.
Okay.
And then some are just stringers. So we have a guy named Joe Dufek who's in the industry for a long time, still around the area, doesn't work at a station, but he works part-time for us. And what a stringer is all we use him for is high school football, high school basketball, so we can get more games on.
So share with me your history. How do you get to where you are today?
Yeah, so originally from San Diego, California.
Oh, wow.
Decided that the nice weather was just that.
Too nice.
Oh, but only nice weather, right? I wanted to experience if this was going to be a career for me. Went all the way to Syracuse University in upstate New York.
Yep.
So if you look at a map, I went from the lower west point of the map in the country to maybe the most northeast point of the map. So as far as I can get, about 2,500 miles away. And then you just apply to jobs. I think I applied to about 100 to 150 of them. You hear back from 5 to 10. As everyone knows, in any industry, it's really difficult to get an email back or a call back. And next thing you know, you have a Green Bay offer on the table, and when you hear Green Bay, Wisconsin, you hear the Packers, and then also not just the Packers, but how passionate everyone here is about just the community. I grew up in a bigger city, right, in the San Diego area, and I love the fact that as much as this is a small community, they do have big numbers, but everyone cherishes the moments like these to listen to the bands and be out here and root on their favorite football team. So I've had the honor and the privilege to talk to so many high school coaches and high school athletes, and I'll be honest, I don't know how they look directly into the camera and stay composed, because as much as I do that for my career, when I was younger in high school, I couldn't even have fathomed looking into a camera and trying to stay composed. So everyone here is doing a great job.
And so when you're interviewing a high school athlete who's had a great performance, like people always ask, because we do these interviews at every half, and they always ask, well, what are the questions? And I've said, I'm not exactly sure what they're going to be. You don't tell kids what the questions are going to be, right? You're going in cold, and they've got to make up answers sitting in front of you because you haven't given them a script to say, hey, study this. We're going to interview tomorrow night, correct?
And some of the kids it takes some time, right? You have a little bit of a conversation with them before the red light's on, so the nerves aren't there. And some, I mean, I've talked to, Brady Moon and Matt Stevens.
Yeah, they're pretty good
in this Bayport program. And they, again, like I mentioned, the word composed is one thing that I'll mention over and over again, because I think people often forget, yes, they're on TV. These guys are 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, right? Just getting into, the prime of their lives, right? They haven't even experienced so much of life that both of us have. So,
Me more than you, however.
Just a little
bit,
bit,
just
right?
a little bit.
What, around like 27, 28?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, it's only a couple years older. It's all cold turkey. They go in, and I also like to not prep my questions, because if they have a good answer, I've gone into stories thinking it's one thing. Next thing you know, they talk about how they got over an injury, and that perseverance led them to where they are now. And that turns into my stories.
Exactly.
So I've had stories like that.
Exactly.
I leave it open on the table and let it roll.
So in your career, where would you want to be in 10, 15, 20 years? That I turn on ESPN and I'm watching you? Or what's the ultimate goal for you? I know you don't have to say to be at WFRV the rest of my life. You don't. They're not listening. Okay, so you're okay there.
So when I left college, obviously the goal is national, and you want to keep growing and getting the reps and getting better over time and just growing as a broadcaster and a person. But as time has gone on, I've learned it's so valuable to just live in the present and live where your feet are, and that's something that I've really tried to internalize. So as much as, yes, the lofty goals are national and to cover the bigger the sport, the bigger the player, the bigger the interview, and be a part of that national attention. All I want to do is be where I am right now, and right where I am is a great place with great people and a great opportunity for me, but more so just ingraining myself in this great community.
So when you were growing up, when did you decide I want to be a sports broadcaster?
So do you want the answer that's true or the answer I gave my college letter?
You can give me the true one.
So truthfully, it was later in high school, and I always loved talking about sports. You can tell I'm a chatterbox, right? So later in high school, my mom looked at me one day and goes, Cam, if you want to explore this career, you got to do something. And back in high school, a guy named Andy Kozon, who was one of my coaches back in high school, he said, hey, I have the school paper. It was junior year. I hadn't done anything, but I wanted to talk sports. I was never good enough to actually play sports at a high level. And from that moment on, I went to a broadcasting camp at Arizona State, a 2-week camp, and I fell in love with sports broadcasting and realized, okay, this could be a career for me. And then you look at the list of colleges, and then you pursue it. The answer I gave on my college letter, I'm a massive Lakers fan. My whole family's from Los Angeles.
Okay.
Kobe is one of my idols, Kobe Bryant. And when he won the championship with the Lakers back in 2010, I remember being 9 years old at a pizza parlor for Game 7 of the NBA Finals against the Celtics, and seeing the broadcaster, I don't fully remember who it was, standing on stage, interviewing Kobe, giving him the Larry O'Brien trophy, and thinking, that's what I want to do.
You want to be that guy.
Yeah.
So if you think about someone you idolize in the profession, are there people like, that's the person who I want to be? Who are the people that you look up to in your profession going, that's the guy I want to be like?
So one guy who, and I don't just idolize him as a person, but I idolize aspects of broadcasting. He is one of the best voices in the industry, Kevin Harlan. And a guy who's done national sports up the wazoo in every single level, and he does the Green Bay Packers in the preseason. I got to spend a week at Super Bowl Media Week back at Syracuse going into my senior year of college. One of the coolest experiences in my life. And we got to interview Kevin Harlan.
Oh, that's awesome.
And sitting there, and I don't get starstruck. I try to keep my cool, but sitting there next to him and hearing his voice and realizing how natural it was to the person that he is taught me so much just about not just the person he is, but the person I want to be, which is just me, and not trying to change the person that I am, as you are probably when you're doing this interview or anyone is doing play-by-play or PA in the booth. You want to be organically yourself.
Yeah, can't fake it.
But when you listen to guys that are at the upper echelon of their career, you think, these guys have it all. And then you realize that they don't do it because they have it all. They do it for so much more. And that's a guy that when I got to meet him was one of the coolest moments in my life. And Kevin Harlan's a guy I look up to.
Well, Cameron, I know you're a busy man tonight. It's Friday night high school football under the lights. And appreciate you being here. And let me try this again.
Yes.
Ezeir.
Close.
Ooh, close.
This is how I do it. So it's Ezeir, but replace the E with an A. So Ezeir.
Ezeir.
Like Air Jordan. But
Ezeir.
I can't jump.
Now, will you be on the air tonight?
I will not.
You will not be.
Weirdly enough, I have a 8 a.m. flight tomorrow to Cleveland to cover the Packers-Browns game on Sunday. So
and the Packers will win that, you assume?
I have them winning it, yes.
You did. Will they cover the spread, or can't you mention that because you're a broadcaster?
Well, the spread is pretty high.
Like 8.5 or 7.5.
And we're in Wisconsin, so is it legally? Are we legally able to bet in Wisconsin?
I think we are.
Are we?
Chris does all the time.
I won't bet because I'll be up there reporting and covering the game, but Chris can have my tickets. I'll give him $5 for me. He's my bookie for the game.
You got it. So. You got it. Good for many others. So we're all good.
I love it.
Cameron, thanks a lot. Thanks for being on.
Appreciate it. Yep.
Cameron from Channel 5 WFRV. You're listening to Bayport Radio. Pirates lead 40-0 over Ashwaubenon.